Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Sunday, October 6th. A little cooler out this morning. The heat's been running most of the night. So went down to the 30s, and that's not unheard of for October. For you older guys and gals like myself, I can remember trick or treating in 4 to 6 inches of snow. Yeah, I haven't seen that in a few years. So, what are we going to talk about today? I thought we'd talk about why nice guys always finish last. That should get you thinking, right? Probably more than what you think. Hang tight. Alrighty, welcome back. Yes, this is the weekend. My name is Eric, and today is October 6th, Sunday, 2024. And we're talking about why nice guys always finish last, right? And it has nothing to do with guys, alright? It has everything to do with both sexes. And you probably are either you're going to go, that's me, or you're going to say, I don't follow you, Eric, okay? When I was growing up, I was the type of person that I always tried to help other people, okay, to a fault. And what ended up happening is that we're wired, right? From birth, we're all equal. Something takes place after birth that changes our outlook, how we look at things, how we view things. And you start seeing a division, right? Of people that, only think of themselves. See, extremes count, right? So you got somebody that only thinks of themselves, narcissistic, and thinks that they're God's gift to everything. And then you have the other extreme of someone that puts their whole life on hold and tries to live through somebody else's needs. And what do I mean by that? I mean that if you spend your life trying to make things easier for other people, and in the process, everything that you ever wanted to do or become has always taken a back seat. And for me, it was that way to a certain extent. Now, I was self-motivator. I had a lot to prove to a lot of people, a lot of naysayers. So I accomplished a lot in my younger years. Whether it was the first in the area to own a dairy farm by age 22 and milking cows and stuff because that was unheard of. Building my own house in 3 weeks and then doing the finishing work through the winter at age 24, that was kind of unheard of. But I was also a people pleaser. And that was my biggest fault. And I say my biggest fault because I allowed other people to take advantage of me. And when I say take advantage of me, no one can take advantage of you. You're allowing them to take advantage of you is the correct way. But at the time, I didn't view it that way. I was the type of person that, when I got ready to, think about building a new house, I had prior 2 years helped a couple brothers build their houses. And I never accepted anything but maybe a hot dog or a hamburger. But I thought there was like this unwritten rule that, okay, guys, I've helped you guys. So when it's time to build my house, I expect the same. And when it came time to start building my house, and I let them know, what was going on and how I was going to do it, yada yada, crickets, crickets. Nothing. There was no, sorry, I can't make it, this or that. They didn't feel obligated at all. And that really was a thorn in my ass. Because here I am, I done all this for you guys, and what do I get back in return? Well, here's the real deal, was I didn't have to help them. They didn't ask for my help. I offered my help. And I worked hard. I spent a lot of time on each one of their houses. There was no written rule that said when it came time for mine that they had to come help me. They didn't feel obligated. You basically have two types of people, right? People that try to keep the peace, try to keep things calm, avoid conflict. And then you have the ones that look for conflict and very, I know what the exact word is for that, but my wife and I, we always seem to hook up with, become friends with people that needed to be saved. And when I say needed to be saved, I mean they usually didn't have a pot to piss in. And there was a good reason why they didn't have a pot to piss in. They didn't put forth the energy to have a pot to piss in. And if it was taking all the kids to, one of the fun parks during the summer months, it was my wife and I paying for everything because the other couple didn't have the money for their kids to go to the fun park. But my wife and I were both, you have people that want to help, and then you have users. That's a little differently than what I'm talking here, because users will use you and then toss you aside when you have nothing left. It's kind of like a leech, right? Or a mosquito, if you don't like leeches. They will suck the blood of what they need, and once they get enough from their host, they move on. And they usually don't take so much that it kills the host, right? Just it takes from them. And you have givers and takers in this world. And givers are the people I'm talking about this morning. And when I say givers, it's those people that always come through, right? That, always put their needs and wants on the back burner. And a lot of times when this happens, we start seeing that person become resentful because it's give, 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 and they're not getting anything back. And the point that I'm trying to drive home this morning is a lot of times the taker isn't really asking you to do squat. The giver normally offers up, right? And then becomes resentful if you don't reciprocate. You can't put all your wants and needs on the back burner for somebody else. It's a relationship type thing. If you're in a relationship, you can't live through the other person. And if you want a strong relationship, you don't want to come in as being needy or always giving and never taking. because it won't work. How many times have you seen people get together because they're hoping to change the other person? Maybe the other person has got a drinking drug habit, and the gal hooks up with them, thinking that somehow they have the power to change that individual to stop. And that's where you have a lot of not too good at thinking, right? Because you're thinking that you can somehow change somebody else. Now, I'm not saying that they can't change based on what you're telling or doing. I'm just saying that the idea that you can change them is ludicrous. But yet, I see this time after time after time. And I'll be honest, the ones that I'm talking about this morning are probably right around a 60-40, 70-30 split. That 60 to 70% of the people I'm talking about are women. And they have that maternal instinct built in, right? Of putting their wants and needs after the kids. Because the kids are their life, right? Their mom. And mom gives up a lot of stuff to be a mom. So what do we do? How do we change this way of thinking? It's not a bad thing to help other people. That's a good thing. That's a good trait. It only becomes a bad trait when it's happening too often, all right? Because you can only give just so much of yourself, right? And that's where I see a lot of relationships fail, is the other person is just tired of giving and finally is just tapped out. And, when I talk about change normally happens when it hurts more to stay where you're at than it is to change to something else. That's how I've always viewed my life. Even though it's a positive change, it has to be motivated that the change is going to hurt less, right? It's going to cause less friction. So do you become this narcissistic, prick or whatever? No, not even close. But you start putting your wants and needs out there too. Because why not? The other person is. And it normally doesn't work when you have those two extremes come together, right? Now, I'm not talking about you guys that are here in the middle that do like to help other people, but you don't put yourself out to where you feel like you're drained. Or you get very upset with the other person because they're not giving back. I'm talking about the extreme out there of givers that will give everything and then become very upset that the other person doesn't offer back. And the best way to stop that trait is to stop offering yourself up. Yeah. If you have Sunday planned and the other person that you feel is sucking you dry comes to you and says, well, we're doing this on Sunday, and you automatically put all your plans on hold because of the other person, say no. Say no, I got my plans are already made for Sunday. Had you gotten a hold of me earlier, or we talked about this earlier, it might have been something different, but my plans are this, and if you want to partake, that's fine. If not, it's okay to speak up for yourself. It's okay to tell people what your wants and needs are. It's okay to be a little aggressive at times to get what you need. Instead of feeling downtrodden. A lot of times, the best thing you can do is separate yourself from that other person so that you finally find out what it is to know what you want to do in life, what you want to accomplish in life, how your life is supposed to be. And then you change yourself and the direction and the course. Because if you watch enough of my videos, I tell you, you have no control over anybody else other than yourself. And the same holds true. There's nobody out there on God's green earth that has any more control over you than you. And they can't make you do diddly squat. And they can't make you feel diddly squat. That's all you. And I'd rather have you find this out sooner than later in your younger years. You know, if you decide you're going to help somebody build a house, you need to approach it with no expectations in return. You're doing it because you want to help the person out. End of story. But if you're doing it thinking that you're going to get the same back and it was never talked about, you're probably going to hear crickets. And there's no reason why you had to pay for the other family and the kids to go to the fun park. You could have just taken your own kids and went. Right? Everything you approach in life, there's expectations. Start thinking of your own wants and needs today. Write them down. And you may have to get rid of a few relationships that you have right now that are toxic or have become toxic because of you allowing them to take advantage of you. And I'll tell you, it's really hard when you decide to stand up for yourself and the other person doesn't like it because the other person has become comfortable and you doing whatever they want you to do or need you to do. So to them, it's kind of scary when you finally step out, you know, and stand your ground. And yes, it may mean splitting up. It may mean getting rid of people in your life that you've allowed in because you've allowed them to take advantage of you. I mean, you don't need to go tell that person, we're not going to be together because you've taken advantage of me. No, you've allowed them to take advantage of you. They didn't do squat. You did it. Now you have to undo it. So give that some thought this morning. You know, if you're in the middle, hopefully that's where most of you guys are. Is you're more than willing to help other people, but not at the point of where it sucks you dry. When you help somebody else, there's no expectations. And if you help out a needy family, all you're looking for is that good feeling inside, right? Nothing more. That you've done a good deed today. And doing good deeds is a positive thing. So on that note, you guys enjoy your Sunday. Put in the comments if it rings a bell with many of you or any of you. Maybe not. This crowd may be all narcissistic. All right, guys. Enjoy your Sunday.